Cyprus is the only country that has its national map on its flag. This small island nation in the Mediterranean sits at the crossroads of Europe, Asia, and the Middle East, a strategic location that has shaped its extraordinary history. With an area of about 9,251 square kilometers and a population of over 4 million, Cyprus is smaller than many U.S. states. Yet this tiny nation wields one of the world's most powerful passports, granting its holders visa-free access to over 170 countries, a privilege not everyone enjoys. Cyprus carries another unique distinction. The capital Nicosia is the only city in Europe divided by historical conflict. One side is controlled by Greek Cypriots, the other by Turkish-backed northern Cyprus. Yet unlike other tense regions, Nicosia is surprisingly peaceful, with people from both sides crossing the checkpoint daily, a living testament to resilience amid division. Language, climate, and daily rhythm. Cyprus uses the euro, although it is part of the European Union. Its culture and traditions remain strongly rooted. Greek is the main language, but English is widely used in public services, tourism, and daily activities, whether you need to talk, shop, or socialize. Using English is generally enough and rarely causes difficulties. In winter, Cyprus maintains a calm and pleasant climate. Daytime temperatures usually stay between 10 and 12 degrees Celsius. It is cool enough for long sleeves, but not cold enough to require thick jackets. Many people still choose light clothing, walk along the shore, or jog in the early morning, as if winter only brings a gentle change. Still, being an island far from the mainland means that doing business in Cyprus requires careful attention. Trust is essential. Locals value personal connections highly. Business relies not only on achievements or public image, but also on introductions. A simple recommendation from a respected friend can open many doors. Each meeting and each short exchange contributes to building your reputation. Cyprus feels both open and close-knit at the same time. From north to south, the island stretches only about 100 kilometers. You can drive across it in under 2 hours if you wish. Some people even choose to walk the distance in about 3 days to experience its daily rhythm more deeply. Every town feels like a small world, with its own pace, people, and colors. The island has no subway or railway system. Transportation depends mainly on taxis, minibuses, and private vehicles. Most residents begin their day early, around 6 wanting to see her. The service industry occupies a large share of the economy. Tourism is central, supporting small cafes, souvenir stalls, and boat rental services. Much of daily life moves with the flow of visitors each year. But the tourist season does not last forever. When summer ends and the first cool winds appear, Cyprus becomes much quieter. Many restaurants close earlier than usual. Cafes grow emptier. Streets near the sea have fewer people, creating a peaceful but slightly nostalgic mood. Crime rates are among the lowest in Europe. Cultural quirks and contradictions. Cyprus and Greece are the only two countries in the world that share the same national anthem. Symbolizing their deep cultural and historical connection, nearly 80% of the population follows Greek Orthodox Christianity, with Easter being the most important holiday of the year. During that time, villages glow with candlelight, while holiday bread, red eggs, and church music fill the air. Greek Cypriots eat fresh vegetables, grilled fish, drink local wine, and believe in balance. But here's something that catches visitors completely off guard, unlike Turkish Cypriots. Greek Cypriots have almost no tradition of drinking tea. Turks are tea drinkers both on the mainland and in northern Cyprus. But Greeks who live in the south drink coffee far more often than tea. It's actually very difficult to see tea on the menu in restaurants or cafes in this country. You can find almost all types of coffee, and mostly you'll see people drinking coffee. Cypriots mostly drink tea only when they're sick. There are even some coffee shops in Cyprus exclusively for men, a remnant of traditional Mediterranean culture. However, not everything in Cyprus lives up to the Mediterranean health paradise image. About 20 to 30% of the population smokes. Although the government has banned smoking in public places, the habit still persists in many cafes and restaurants. And then there's the issue that nobody talks about in the travel brochures. If you think petty corruption or favor-for-favor mechanisms only exist in developing countries, Cyprus will surprise you. Cypriots have a slang term, meson, literally meaning in the middle, figuratively meaning middleman or having muscle. To get a job, expedite administrative paperwork, or even erase a traffic ticket, people often ask, "Do you have a mason?" This creates massive inequality in society. where talent sometimes matters less than whose nephew you are or which official you know. Cyprus is one of the few countries where people drive on the left side of the road, a reminder of its British colonial past. Daily life also starts much earlier than most travelers expect. Many Cypriots begin their day around 6 a.m., with shops, markets, and even government offices opening early. By midday, the streets slow down under the strong sun, and by late afternoon, the rhythm of life restarts again. If you're watching on your phone and these facts are blowing your mind, tap that hype button right now to help this video reach more curious travelers like you. Your support means the world. Surviving the desert sun. On average, Cyprus gets only about 40 rainy days and as many as 320 sunny days each year. But the price to pay is that on many days. The island looks no different from the Sahara Desert, and that is not an exaggeration. Even NASA has released breathtaking satellite images showing powerful winds sweeping massive dust clouds from the North African desert across the sea and blanketing the island. This is why locals rarely leave their homes on such days. In all major cities, air quality monitoring stations operate at full capacity, especially in the spring, when these dust storms strike most frequently. The water situation is even more extreme. Rivers in Cyprus originate from the Troodos mountain range and are filled with water only from melting mountain snow. In summer, all rivers completely dry up, creating a landscape that seems impossible for human habitation. So how do Cypriots survive this brutal heat? The answer lies in ancient wisdom that puts modern technology to shame. Cypriot houses are built with walls that can be up to 1 meter thick, not for defense, but for climate control. They're engineered with air gaps and specific stone arrangements that create natural air conditioning systems. And what's truly impressive, many of these traditional houses maintain indoor temperatures of 20 to 25 degrees Celsius, even when outside temperatures hit 40 degrees Celsius, all without any electrical cooling systems. Modern architects from around the world come to Cyprus to study these ancient cooling techniques that are more effective than most modern heating, ventilating, and air conditioning systems. A humbling reminder that ancient wisdom sometimes surpasses modern technology. But that's not all. The cost of living is quite high, according to the International Monetary Fund, IMF. Cyprus is a small island economy with a high dependence on imports, making it vulnerable to external price pressures such as energy costs and inflation. Its economy relies heavily on tourism, which drives prices up significantly, especially for housing and food. During peak seasons, for example, Limassol, one of the most important and expensive cities in Cyprus, offers everything you would expect from a warm Mediterranean destination with sea views. But finding an apartment there for under 800 EUR is almost impossible. Properties below that price are often considered risky or problematic by real estate agents. Cheaper units are usually far from the center or in very poor condition, with rental rates reaching about 50 EUR per square meter. A small 25 square meter studio can easily cost more than 1,000 EUR per month. Overall, it is a very high price by global standards. Love, loss, and tradition in Cyprus. Cyprus, often romanticized as a Mediterranean paradise, carries a pair of contrasting realities when it comes to relationships. On one hand, the island is known for its remarkably high divorce rate. According to Eurostat data, Cyprus ranks among the European countries with the most divorces, following Latvia, Lithuania, and Hungary. But many couples relocate to Cyprus seeking a peaceful, sun-soaked life. Yet some eventually drift apart. In sectors like tourism, where social circles constantly mix with travelers, infidelity is often cited as a contributing factor. It's a lesser-known side of island life, far removed from the idyllic image shown in travel magazines. Yet, on the other hand, Cypriot marriage traditions are among the most vibrant and elaborate in Europe. Weddings here are not just a single-day event. They can last an entire week and include the participation of extended families, neighbors, and whole communities. The celebrations are lavish, sometimes costing more than a car, reflecting how deeply marriage ceremonies are woven into the island's cultural identity. In some rural areas, one of the most charming customs is the bed-making ritual, where unmarried women decorate the wedding bed with rose petals, rice, and coins while singing ancient songs passed down through generations. This symbolic act carries blessings of prosperity, love, and fertility. Then comes the famous money-throwing tradition. During specific dances, Male guests shower the couple with money, not small bills, but often contributions totaling 200 to 500 euros per guest. This gesture transforms the wedding into a festive display of generosity and support. In fact, a single guest's traditional offering can exceed the monthly rent in many European cities. Before we dive into the next mind-blowing fact, would you actually want to live in Cyprus despite all these contradictions? Drop your honest thoughts in the comments below. I read every single one. Meat lovers in an island paradise. Cypriots love eating fatty meat, especially fatty lamb. But why would islanders prefer meat over fish? The reason traces back to medieval times when the inhabitants of this island lived in mountainous areas in the central part of the island. Not by the sea. The seacoast wasn't suitable for agriculture and animal husbandry and was too windy. For this reason, people moved to more central areas where they practiced animal husbandry, raising goats and sheep and eating their meat. So the fact that Cyprus is an island nation should not make you think that people there prefer to eat fish. They prefer animal meat, a culinary tradition that still dominates today. And this meat obsession reaches its peak in one spectacular tradition called mess, which isn't just a meal, it's a social institution that can last up to 6 hours and include over 30 different dishes. But here's what most people don't know, and what gets many tourists in trouble refusing food during meals is considered deeply insulting. And hosts will literally follow you around with plates until you eat. The bizarre part that turns dining into a competitive sport? Cypriots have turned competitive eating into an art form. Traditional mise restaurants measure success not by how much you enjoy the food, but by how many dishes you just can't finish. It's actually considered a compliment to the chef if guests have to be rolled out the door. And get this, some restaurants even have wheelchairs available for customers who've eaten a bit too much. That's not all. Cyprus is the only country in the world with a protected designation of origin cheese that both sides, north and south, produce and export together, halloumi. Halloumi is the only cheese that doesn't melt when grilled. Cypriots consider it white gold. With halloumi export revenue exceeding many other industries, there was once a fierce legal halloumi war between Cyprus and foreign companies, even Britain, to secure rights to this name. A battle over identity as much as economics. But of course, all this indulgence comes at a price. According to the World Health Organization, Cypriots are most likely to suffer from diabetes and Alzheimer's disease, with those over 70 years old particularly vulnerable to heart disease. A sobering reminder that paradise comes with health consequences. The Limassol Carnival. If you want to witness a city where every social rule is thrown out the window, come to the Limassol Carnival in Cyprus. This is not just a celebration. It's a 10-day-long frenzy where all social hierarchies are perfectly inverted. Bosses might be made to serve their employees, and politicians are mercilessly mocked on spectacular, colorful floats. The festival kicks off with Fat Thursday, when the smell of grilled meat saturates the air, culminating in the massive grand parade. But what truly makes Limassol stand out is the organized chaos people willingly participate in ceremonial battles involving flour, eggs, and colored water, transforming the streets into a colorful battlefield. With the contadoroi, serenaders, roaming everywhere, mixing romance and political satire. The Limassol Carnival invites you to break every boundary and immerse yourself in the Cypriot spirit of absolute freedom, where seriousness is strictly forbidden. A cathartic release that perhaps explains how Cypriots cope with their island's many contradictions. The island that defined a civilization. Here's a fact that will blow your mind. Cyprus is an island with mineral deposits so rich that it gave its name to a chemical element. The metal we call copper has the Latin name cuprum, literally meaning the metal from Cyprus. Its abundance of copper turned the island into the lifeline of the ancient world. But even more astonishing than this linguistic legacy is the timescale. These copper mines operated continuously for more than 4,000 years, making them some of the oldest surviving industrial sites on the planet. The ancient Cypriots weren't just miners, they were civilization builders. They didn't just extract copper, they helped forge the Bronze Age, arming entire civilizations and building a trade network stretching from Britain all the way to India. Cyprus was the weapons factory and material bank of the Mediterranean world. The industrial powerhouse of its era. Today, when you visit the old mining sites, you're literally walking through layers of human history. You'll find Phoenician extraction marks, Roman tools, and Byzantine equipment lying alongside modern machinery, a vivid, rugged, and fascinating testament to how one metal shaped human history over 4 millennia. And it's fitting that such a powerful island has mythological roots to match. This is also the birthplace of Aphrodite, the goddess of love, beauty, femininity, and female sexuality in Greek mythology. Fitting for an island that has inspired passion and conflict in equal measure. Even Cyprus's modern ruins tell stories. One of the world's premier shipwreck diving sites can also be found here, the Zenobia, a cargo ship that sank off Cyprus in 1980, along with trucks scattered across the seabed. Attracts many tourists for exploration, modern ruins adding to the layers of history beneath the waves. The divided capital and its contradictions. Walking along Ledra Street, the lively shopping hub of Nicosia, visitors may find themselves suddenly stepping into an entirely different atmosphere. One moment you're surrounded by cafes and boutiques, and the next you're at a crossing point where documents are checked and peacekeepers monitor the passage between 2 administratively separate areas. It's a surprising shift that adds an unexpected layer to the city's character. Some nearby buildings remain unused, marked by time, serving as quiet reminders of the island's complex past. The presence of UN peacekeeping forces along the so-called Green Line creates scenes that feel unusual for a European capital. Their role is simply to maintain calm and ensure that this unique arrangement continues to function smoothly. This sense of contrast can even be observed from above. On a mountainside in the northern part of the island, a large flag has been painted, so large that it can be seen from satellite imagery. Its exact coordinates, 35, 37891, often appear in online discussions as one of the most recognizable landmarks visible from space. The human cost of this division, however, is far more profound than any flag. Northern Cyprus recorded the highest level of anger in Gallup's Global Emotions report. This region declared independence in 1983, but almost no country recognizes it, meaning international trade is restricted, tourism is limited, and it depends entirely on Turkish support. This abnormal situation causes daily frustration for many local residents. But here's where the story takes an unexpectedly beautiful turn. The buffer zone controlled by the UN, uninhabited for the past 50 years, has inadvertently become an unintended nature reserve. Picture UN soldiers patrolling while mouflon sheep, a national symbol printed on Cypriot euro coins, leisurely graze near minefields. Scientists have discovered rare mouflon sheep, extinct plant species, and birds thriving in this strip of land full of mines and barbed wire, simply because there are no humans to destroy it. A painful but beautiful paradox, human warfare has become an opportunity for nature to reclaim its kingdom. This division has created yet another peculiarity that catches every visitor off guard. Cyprus is one of the few non-micronation countries without an operating airport near its capital. This airport lies right inside the buffer zone between north and south. Abandoned since 1974, its runways silent witnesses to the island's frozen conflict. The unseen kingdom of feral cats. But not all of Cyprus's inhabitants are human. And this next fact reveals a crisis hiding in plain sight. Cyprus is famously, and perhaps misleadingly, dubbed the Island of Cats. While the initial thought might conjure up images of a quaint, charming pet paradise, the reality on the ground is starkly different and far more severe. The statistics alone are staggering. Almost unbelievable, it is estimated that feral cats outnumber the human population. Roughly 1. 5 million cats versus 1. 2 million residents. This isn't a curiosity. It's an ecological and public health crisis. The darker side of this phenomenon is impossible to ignore once you see it. Cats are ubiquitous, lurking in every shadow, from crowded taverns and dumpsters to the undercarriages of parked cars. Tragically, many are sick, starving or visibly injured, missing an eye, suffering from untreated wounds, or casualties of traffic accidents. The efforts to control this crisis are hopelessly overwhelmed. The existing trap-neuter release programs are overwhelmed and underfunded, failing to contain the explosive reproduction rate. As a result, the island struggles with the rapid spread of debilitating feline diseases, making the Island of Cats a beautiful yet desperate battleground for animal welfare. Another paradox in an island full of them. The tyranny of Siga. And finally, we arrive at the philosophy that explains or perhaps excuses so much of what makes Cyprus both maddening and magical. Siga Siga, the phrase meaning slowly. Slowly is the unspoken mantra of Cypriot life. In tourism brochures, it's romanticized as a charming, relaxed Mediterranean lifestyle. In reality, when applied to business and public services, it can feel like a genuine tyranny of time. Let me give you a real example of what this means in practice. If you schedule a plumber for 9 Limassol, they might arrive at noon, or perhaps they'll show up tomorrow. This extreme flexibility is considered completely normal for anyone accustomed to the industrial precision of German or Japanese work culture. The slow pace of life and bureaucratic processes in Cyprus can be a source of intense stress and frustration. Administrative paperwork crawls at a snail's pace, and a simple appointment can consume an entire day. Here's the ultimate irony that captures the absurdity. You can travel across Cyprus in a few hours. The island's length from east to west is only 240 kilometers, and the maximum width from north to south is 100 kilometers. Yet somehow, getting anything done administratively can take weeks. Ultimately, Siga Siga is a cultural paradox that perfectly encapsulates the entire island, a beautiful philosophy for enjoying the sunset, but a challenging one for getting anything done efficiently. Perhaps the perfect encapsulation of Cyprus itself. An island where contradictions don't cancel each other out, but instead create something entirely unique. So what have we learned? Cyprus is not just an island, it's a living paradox. A place where ancient copper mines gave a name to an element, where warfare creates nature reserves, where the highest divorce rate coexists with the most extravagant weddings, and where time moves both too slowly and too fast. It's a nation divided yet united by cheese, scorched by desert sun yet cooled by ancient wisdom, small in size yet immense in complexity. This is Cyprus beautiful, contradictory, and utterly mind-blowing. If you enjoy discovering these incredible Cyprus facts, smash that like button and subscribe for more mind-blowing stories about the world's most fascinating places. Trust me, you don't want to miss what's coming next.